Right now, you're using artificial intelligence to make yourself intellectually weak. When you encounter a complex new topic, whether it is a dense financial model, a new programming language, or a shifting geopolitical regulatory framework, you paste the document to the ChatGPT or Claude and type, "Summarize this for me." The AI spits out a flawless 5-point summary. You read it, you nod, you feel smart, and 48 hours later, you have completely forgotten every single structural detail of what you read. You are engaging in passive consumption. You are treating your brain like a hard drive. But human memory does not work like a hard drive. Human memory requires friction, struggle, and active recall to encode data into long-term leverage. Before I give you the exact 10-prompt architecture to turn AI from a passive summarizer into a ruthless, elite cognitive sparring partner, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor market and upgrade your intellectual capital using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these blueprints. Today, we are completely redefining how you acquire knowledge. I'm going to share 10 highly engineered prompts that will force the AI to stop giving you the answers and start forcing you to think. We are going to build your mental model, deploy interleaved practices session, and map complex concepts directly into your deep memory. Grab a notebook. It is time to stop outsourcing your intelligence and start architecturing your cognitive dominance. Welcome back. I'm Dr. HR. To understand why my approach to the accelerated learning is aggressively different from a passive study hacks you see online, you must understand my underlying architecture. I hold a PhD in Human Resources, a Master's in Human Resource Management from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai, and a Bachelor's in Computer Engineering. I do not look at the learning as an emotional or academic exercise. I look at it as a system engineering problem. How do we move high-value data from an external environment into the human neural network with maximum retention and minimum decay? Operating here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for the apex corporate entities across the Middle East, I see executives failing, not because they lack data, but because they lack the frameworks to synthesize the data under pressure. They rely on AI to do the thinking for them, which creates a catastrophic single point of failure when they are sitting in a boardroom without their laptop. To survive the 2026 labor market, you must possess adaptation velocity, the ability to learn complex new systems faster than your peers. To do this, you must program your AI to act as a master tutor. Let us break down the 10 structural prompts to forge your intellect. Phase 1. The friction engines. If learning feels easy, you're not learning, you are just reading. True cognitive encoding requires friction. These first 3 prompts are designed to stop the AI from giving you the answers and force you to generate the logic yourself. Prompt 1. The Socratic Drillmaster. You must kill the AI's default behavior of extreme helpfulness. You want a coach, not a calculator. Act as a Socratic coach for topic. Do not give me answers, only ask smart questions that lead me to an answer. Start by asking what I already know and where I am confused. After each of my replies, ask the next best analytical question. At the end of our session, summarize what I have discovered. The engineering logic. You are executing the meiotic method. By forcing the AI to only ask questions, you are forced to retrieve information from your own neural pathways. This retrieval process strengthens the synaptic connections in your brain. You are building the architecture from the inside out. Prompt 2. The mixed practice architect. Traditional corporate training teaches you one concept, tests you on it, and moves to the next. This is called blocked practice, and it creates the illusion of mastery. You must use interleaved practice. Here, build an interleaved practice session for skill, subject, insight, topic. Mix related concepts instead of studying one at a time. Give me a 30 to 45 minute plan, plus 12 to 15 mixed drills, plus an answer key, plus review loop in my mistakes. Ask for my current level before we begin. The engineering logic. When you mix concept, your brain is forced to not only remember the solution, but also identify which solution applies to which problem. You are training the algorithms of pattern recognition. This is how elite operators learn to diagnose the chaotic boardroom problem. Prompt 3. The why-how interrogator. Surface level knowledge shatters under the executive scrutiny. You must build structural depth. Be my elaboration coach for topic. Every time I state a fact, hit me with 3 questions. Why is it true? How does it work? What would break it? Keep pushing my logic until my explanation is rock solid. Then summarize my final structural understanding. The engineering logic, the most powerful question here is, what would break it? If you understand a financial model but do not know the exact variable that will cause it to collapse, you do not actually understand the model. This prompt forces you to find the failure points on your own knowledge. Phase 2. Architecting the mental framework. Once you have generated the friction required to learn, you must organize the data into a usable mental map. Raw data without a framework is just noise. Prompt 4. The mental model forge. Executives do not memorize fact. They build mental models. Act as a mental model builder for the topic in domain. Identify the core principle, patterns, and relationship. Start by asking what frameworks I already know. Then build a simple model map, principles, rules, example. Finish with 5 test scenarios to see if I can apply the model. The engineering logic. You are commanding the AI to compress the chaos into a predictable heuristics. You are mapping the fundamental physics of the topic. Once you have the core principle, you can apply them to infinite variation of the problem. Prompt 5. The visual thinking translator. The human brain processes visual spatial data magnitudes faster than text. You must exploit dual coding. Be my dual coding tutor for topic. Explain each concept in 2 modes. 1. Simple, uncompromising words. 2. A visual representation and ask a sketch, a structured table, or a logical flowchart. Then give me 2 examples and 3 quick questions to test my spatial understanding. The engineering logic. By mapping textual data to a spatial structure, like a flowchart, you are creating a secondary neural pathway to the information. If you forget the exact definition in a meeting, your brain will retrieve the visual structure, allowing you to reconstruct the logic in real time. Phase 3. The generation and translation engine. To truly own a piece of intellectual capital, you must be able to generate it from scratch and translate it across different domains. Prompt 6. The active recall generator. Passivity is the enemy of retention. Act as my generative learning coach for the topic. Do not let me read passively. Make me produce. For each subtopic, make me write a summary. Make me create an analogy. Make me generate real-world examples. Make me create 3 flashcards, keep it highly interactive, and critique my output. The engineering logic. You are forcing your brain into a state of continuous output. If you cannot write the summary yourself without looking at the source text, you do not own the data. The AI acts as a ruthless quality assurance auditor for your thought. Prompt 7. The meta-learning coach. This is the ultimate execution function. You must step outside of the learning process and audit the machinery itself. Be my learning strategy coach while I study the topic. Every few minutes, pause the context and ask, what strategy am I using right now? What specific variables is confusing me? What is working and what is failing? Based on my answers, recommend a better cognitive approach and dynamically adjust our study plan. The engineering logic. This is the systems engineering applied to your own brain. You are monitoring the analytics of your learning velocity. If a method is failing, you do not push harder. You pivot the architecture. Prompt 8. The analogy bridge tutor. You learn the unknown by anchoring it to the unknown. Teach me the topic using the analogies. First, ask what domain I already understand deeply. Example, corporate finance, system engineering, supply chain logistics. Then explain each new concept with 2 to 3 analogies mapped perfectly to my existing knowledge base. End with a short quiz using those exact analogies to confirm my comprehension. The engineering logic. This is a semantic linking. If you are an engineer trying to learn UAE labor law, having the AI explain legal compliance as a series of API rate limits and fail-safes instantly bridges the cognitive gap. Prompt 9. The simplified learning strategist. The ultimate test of intelligence is simplicity. Complexity is often a mask of ignorance. Serve as my simplified learning strategist for the topic. Break down this highly complex idea into stark, easy-to-understand language suitable for a 12-year-old. Start with the core structural concept. highlight the main load-bearing component, and strip away all industry jargon. The engineering logic. This is the technique automated. If the AI cannot explain it simply, or if you cannot repeat it simply, the foundational logic is flawed. You strip away the academic throat-clearing exercise and expose the raw operational truth. Phase 4. The apex execution. We arrive at the final protocol. This is how you transition from a basic memorization to elite strategic execution. Prompt 10. The progressive recall mentor. You must systematically increase the load. Step into the role of my progressive recall mentor for subject. Instead of giving direct answers, design a step-by-step questioning system. Begin with basic recall question about topic, then gradually increase the friction, moving into complex application synthesis and high-stakes analytical scenario. The engineering logic. You are training for the corporate battlefield in a high-level negotiations in Dubai or Riyadh. No one is going to ask you for a dictionary definition. They are going to present you with a chaotic, multivariable crisis and ask you to apply your knowledge to solve it. This prompt simulates the intense pressure of the C-suite, forcing you to apply raw data to chaotic environments. Look closely at the mechanics of the market. The professionals who will dominate are the ones who use AI as a high-velocity cognitive force. They use the machine to increase the friction. They use it to interrogate their assumptions, to map complex data structures into their deep memory, and to build untouchable mental models. You must stop acting as a passive consumer of algorithmic summaries. You must become the apex architect of your own intellectual capital. Copy this 10 prompt, open your AI interface, stop asking it for the answers and command it to force you to think. Process the data, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the top.